Over 2,000 students in UK universities test positive for coronavirus.
Queen's University investigating reckless behaviour.
What will it cost students to return home?
Students locked down after illegal parties at
Fears
UK
of
university.
crazy freshers parties
How
in the
universities
UK
tricked
because
students into returning to campus.
Student black coronavirus spike in Gwynedd linked to
Furious
students.
students around university students after
Students
coronavirus.
return.
Universities have let their students down.
How is it to live at university in 2020 in one word? Shit.
Oh yeah, I'm on the course.
How do you feel students are being represented right now, as in just like being blamed and...
In the media, they've been going on about
Yeah.
this, like partying still.
I feel like they're gonna vilify any group they can, and it just so happens that we're a
Someone's going
we're
to
a
get
s-
the blame, and it
yeah.
just has to. It's a just.
Well, I feel like to begin with, they primarily pin the blame on us for going out, socialising in, whether that's a night out or spending it with people.
I think we've been represented as very irresponsible when that's not the case for all of the students.
Yeah, I feel like we've been villainised more than other people. Like secondary schools gone back at the same time, and they're probably just as bad as us, but you don't really hear about them.
Do you think students, have you seen a lot of them breaking the rules? Is it as bad as the media make it out to be?
It's not as
It's
bad.
not as bad,
but
but
it's
it's-
yeah.
I feel people are improvising. I feel like they're trying different ideas out to pass boredom.
Yes, I
But to
agree.
make the most of the situation as well.
Do you think this representation is fair?
No,
Why?
because we're getting the blame for it.
Well, I mean,
Just because we're new students.
and the fact that we were told to go out and eat at restaurants with 50% off, and then the government blamed us because we were going out. So, how is it fair that we're getting the blame when it was they're doing it?
I think it's fair to an extent because I think obviously there is a lot of COVID cases in universities, but I think it's not just uni students, so I think they should be solely blamed.
Do you feel like the shit state of the world makes people want to party more?
Of course.
Oh yeah. Drink more,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, forget your problems.
Do you feel like you've missed out on Freshers Week?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And that whole experience?
Because they were originally going to replace it with stuff, but then a lot of it got cancelled as well, so we didn't really get to do anything.
We've still been going out a couple times, but we've mostly been in the house, just drinking and playing games and stuff.
I found it's been frustrating to hear stories of the past of people going out and getting smashed every night on week one.
No.
And we had nothing that was actually appropriate for your age range and what you wanted. Because watching a film, Freshers Week is to socialise and make friends. You're watching a film, you're not talking.
With headphones on as well.
Yeah, so what's
Yeah.
the point? If you're going to pay £10 for a film you can just watch in your film, because that's about as much socialising.
It's like previous years, I get that you can't do it because of COVID now, but there was an event every single night.
Yeah.
And then at the end of it, you had your big ball, and last year they had Scout for Girls Club. and
Yeah,
stuff like
that was really good.
So it's a big difference between previous years and this year.
Next topic, studying. So I know a lot of you are doing mostly online courses at the moment, so most of your stuff's through Microsoft Teams and apps like that. How do you find that, the whole online learning thing?
About an hour and a half of sleep.
And sometimes the audio
I try, I fully sit there and listen, but none of it goes in.
no.
It's difficult to concentrate.
Mine's a mix of both online and face-to-face. So even though we are getting the face-to-face, sometimes it's only about 50%. So still with online, it is just you're sat alone in your room, you're looking at a computer screen for 6 hours.
Yeah, same. It's easy to fall asleep online.
So then, do you think that you're getting what you're paying for?
No.
The only thing that's stayed the same is the price, really.
Facts.
Because it's online, so it's not the
Yeah.
same experience and
No, yeah.
support and everything.
It doesn't justify $9,500 being online, in my opinion, at all. But yeah.
I just think it's a bit of a con that you could go to the Open University and pay £3,500 to get the same service that we're getting here for £9,250, except they've been doing it for 50 years and we've been doing it for 3 weeks.
I don't think the university could afford it though. They'll probably use their tuition fees to pay for maintenance and services around the halls.
I think
If we don't pay the fees, we risk losing the university, so it's a bit of a lose-lose. And at the end of the day, you know what you're signing up for.
I think you might have tried to defer another year.
I almost deferred this year.
I just want to get university out of the way.
Yeah, that was my thought.
The only reason I didn't is because I wanted to just get it finished. If this had have happened in my first year, I'd have deferred.
Have you had to self-isolate so far?
Yeah, but only for a day, a couple days.
It was that sort of moment when you realise personally how much COVID affects,
But it's actually
how
real.
serious it is.
Yeah.
Well, it made me really sad at the start because I thought we'd have to be here for 2 weeks. So then I was just like depressed for a day. But then we could leave again, so it's fine.
It was a little stressful at the start not knowing how long we'd be here because I had like no food in the fridge and all that sort of stuff.
Upsetting. Because we were like meant to be going home that weekend, so it was just a bit stressful, like if we were able to or not.
And there's a lot of talk about how the government's handling it. So tests, for example, it's kind of like, do you get a test? If you have symptoms, do you not? How well do you feel like things are being run, even at the university level, with the advice they're giving us? How do you feel about that right now?
I feel like it's alright. Like, I don't think they could do an awful lot more.
It's contradiction. I think there needs to be a system through the government though to get tests to universities.
It's not like the uni can't really do a lot of that. A lot of it does go through the government.
Unless you've already got a car on campus, you can't go get tested.
Yeah, I was going to say, unless you can
kits.
get yourself to the site to get a test, you can't get a test.
And we can't really keep cars here and
There's not enough to mail them to the universities, therefore they need some that they can give to universities that they can give to floors and then send up.
Fears and anxieties. So just about, could be about anything, but particularly right now there's potential of a second outbreak coming, second lockdown. What are your biggest anxieties right now for the future?
I think the main concern is if we do go into another lockdown, how are people going to get home if they want to go home? No, for me it's working. Because if I can't, I'm not in a position where I can go home if we go into another lockdown, I'll be here. But I need to work to afford to stay here. But if I can't get to work because we're in lockdown or like we're self-isolating, I can't do it.
I don't.
I just don't want to go solely online because I just don't think it would be worth it at all.
Would you look at going home if that was the case? Or
Possibly because the degree I'm doing is quite like practical, so I just don't feel you'd be getting your money's worth at all if it was all online.
Not really.
Not particularly. I feel like the uni's got quite a good like structure. If something did happen, we'd all be like made to stay in so we'd be safe. So
I think my biggest one is when we went into lockdown previously and uni was like still going online, I really struggled to even do any of my assignments. Like I just couldn't get in like the frame of mind to be able to do them. And this year's vital because I've got dissertation to do.
Yeah.
But I'm worried that it's not going to be good enough.
What would you say has been the biggest change in your lives throughout the past year?
And on a serious note, it's probably going in. Like I didn't realise how much going into uni really like affected how well I actually did. Whereas sitting in my room getting annoyed at people's loud music above me made me feel like such an old woman.
Oh, well I lost my career. I was literally on the path I wanted
Yeah.
to be, and now I'm in uni, which I wasn't meant to be doing.
Yeah.
So I'm really salty about it.
Why don't you go into greater detail for the audience?
Oh, well I was cabin crew and I was training to be a pilot, and now I'm in university, which I thought I'd never be doing, so like for that it just makes university even more hard because I didn't want to be doing it.
And then finally, how is it to be a university student in 2020?
Isolating.
Interesting.
Frustrating.
Disappointing.
Unfulfilling.
Unconventional.
Difficult.
Lonely.
Strange.
confusing.
Unnatural.